Quick history. Back in the 90s, we had Beanie Babies, slap bracelets, and air pumpable sneakers. But for us in technology, the biggest thing was called the browser wars. That was a battle for dominance of how people access the internet through the browser. It was fought originally between Microsoft with Internet Explorer and Netscape Navigator. The eventual winner was actually Google with Chrome, and a big part of its success was that the browser was freely available and open source. Today, Google's Chrome dominates with over 66% of the market. And there's also a flurry of variants that use Google's open source version called Chromium. This ironically includes a Microsoft variant called Edge and others like Opera and Brave. But artificial intelligence is taking a lot of traffic away from search engines. And the US government is actively pushing Google to sell the Chrome browser. So what once helped Google dominate the industry could also turn into a liability. Comet is a Chromium-based AI-focused browser from Perplexity. In order to download Comet, you'll need to have a Perplexity Pro account and ask for an invite, or you can pay for the $200 Perplexity Max account. You can download the browser if you have an invite at this URL. Once you get that, you'll be able to download and install the browser. The main difference is that Perplexity is front and center and deeply integrated into the application. It's going to be there whenever you open a new window or if you open a new tab. By the way, this is also going to change your Omnibar search. So anything you type in here will also generate a Perplexity search. This will let you do a quick prompt, which Perplexity calls threads. So let's try one. I'll say, what's the latest news on AI government regulations in the US? Perplexity has always specialized in AI-powered searches, and it's optimized for speed and factuality. On a Perplexity results page, you can make a selection and ask it to check sources, and it helps you verify any information that it's generated. Notice that you can also choose to add to a follow-up question. And if you click on this, it'll quote it and let you ask a follow-up question as well. Notice that your results have different tabs depending on what you asked. You can see the list of sources, which is where Perplexity got the information to answer your question, and steps lets you see what it did to get that answer. It'll often build these tables that are quite useful, and you can hit the share button and it will copy a link to this article to share with others. You can also export this as a PDF, Markdown, or a Microsoft DocX file. And you can ask it to rewrite anything using different models. Go deeper with the research feature or create a project from labs. You can also find these at the bottom. You'll see that search is on by default, but you can also add research, which is like deep research in other AIs. Labs are like Claude Artifacts or ChatGPT or Gemini's Canvas, except it doesn't have the writing features. You can also see some of these options here, and this will help you rename the thread or add it to a space. A space is like a folder that allows you to include files, additional links, and also custom instructions. This will let you create a group of conversations around a specific topic. You can see that it added that conversation in a page right here. You can also convert to a page which has a more formal layout of the content, and it's a more comprehensive document that is editable, but still created by the AI. You can edit any of these sections, add additional media, and move these different sections around or delete them. From here, you can preview the document and publish it so that others can see it. You can also create a task. This is a scheduled prompt you can run regularly, and you can assign a time and control your sources to get content from different places. Right here is the model selector. Perplexity has its own model called Sonar. Based on a combination of other models, it does come with privacy safeguards. User data is not used for model training, and all processing is handled securely. If you don't want to use Sonar, you can use the latest models, although some require the Max plan. Of course, you can upload files and do dictation right on the interface. If you move over to the left-hand side, you can see all the threads right here, create a new thread or a page, and take a look at some preset topics. Now, under this section is where you can see all the settings, preferences, personalization, and connectors. Connectors are really useful because they let Perplexity talk to external tools. I've connected my Gmail, which also includes my calendar, as well as my Google Drive. Let's go back and I'll ask a question here from my email. Can you summarize any emails from Google? and I can ask some follow-up questions. Tell me more about that Google Ads notice. And then I can follow up with some additional details here. I'll say, create a reminder for me to take care of that by tomorrow, end of day. Include some notes with the key details. No personal IDs, please, and any relevant information. And you can see that it's able to create a reminder for me. Where Perplexity is most impressive is with the browser. I'm going to find one of my articles, and I can pull up the assistant right here and ask questions about this page. I'll say, give me a list of links mentioned in the article. I want a rewritten title, link to the URL, then a less than 200 character summary of the link's content. You can also open up the thread in a different tab. Let's see if I can get it to open these in new tabs. We'll go ahead and ask it to group these tabs for us. And it creates them as a separate group section right here. Once you have these in a new group, you can drag them as a separate entity. A lot of times for the content that I'm reading, I'll need a summary of a page. So there's a button for that, and I'll ask it to summarize the page right here. That's pretty useful. If you want to, you can turn on voice commands and use it to navigate and execute things. Let's go to the homepage. What are the last 5 articles I wrote?
The last 5 articles you wrote are: the new AI modes are built from concrete.
Let's open these up in new tabs.
You're all open now.
Let's go ahead and group these.
They're grouped together now.
Looking at the content of these 5 articles, give me some ideas, new things that I could write based on current events.
Here are a few new article ideas based on current AI events. Write about how OpenAI's latest model solved complex math challenges and what that means for AI reasoning. Explore the rise of agentic AI.
All right, pause. I do a lot of work in the browser, and that includes working with AI chatbots, which are always one of my open tabs. Working with Comet, though, feels like an upgrade. The AI is part of my browsing experience and is always there to help me. It's so useful that I already switched my default browser to Comet, and although I think we're going to see every browser start copying these features, Perplexity has set the bar super high.